If you look only at the results are bad.
Yes.
But we're not just looking at the results. We're looking at the vibes. And the vibes are very good in Montreal.
There aren't many teams in a worse position currently that have more reason to be optimistic for the future.
They're enjoying it.
Yeah. Like
The fans are enjoying it.
Habs are going to finish, I think, optimistically 6th in the Atlantic, probably last, and everyone's going to eat it up.
And that's sort of what happened last year, especially in the first month with Arbor Xhekaj and Nick Suzuki scoring a big goal. I think it was like an overtime goal. That first October last year was really good to the Montreal Canadiens, just for the vibes.
They were hot. Slafkovsky had a good start, followed by nothing, but like the start was there.
8th place, 68 points last year. What do you think the betting odds have them finishing this year?
Oh, higher. 76.5.
Jesse.
72.5.
71.5.
You son of a gun.
Damn, Jesse, you're really good at this.
No, I was off.
Well, by one.
I haven't nailed any today on this division.
This is a very young, very fun team. I'm going to start with Cole Caufield. Once he got out from the shadow of Dom Ducharme, he became the Cole Caufield we all expected him to be. Is 40 goals off the table?
Yeah, because he's going to leave it behind for 50.
I was just going to say, is it a 50-goal year for Cole Caufield?
It might not be there just yet, but if he's fully healthy, I'd be shocked if he was under 40.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Jesse,
what do you think?
26 in 46 last year. Like the dude was on pace for the 40-goal season.
26 and 40.
Nearly a 50-goal pace.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah, just off the 50. Yeah. It'd be like 48. Yeah. The dude was right there if he just could stay healthy.
Which means he would have hit 50. Mm-hmm. He would have heated up,
Yeah. At the end of the season, they start feeding you.
100%.
Nick Suzuki was named captain right before the season last year. Seemed to do a really good job with it. It's a lot of spotlight in Montreal. Given, though, that there's not a lot of pressure on the team right now, this is a season for these young Montreal players to really enjoy being a Montreal Canadien and grow into their roles, because I think after this year, it's going to start to be like, all right, guys, time's ticking. Let's get back to the playoffs. What do you need from Nick Suzuki, 24 years old this year, to take a step forward? What's considered a win?
Honestly, I think a lot of him as a player, and I don't really look at what he did last year as doing anything wrong. I think what he needs as a young center in this league is support. And it just hasn't been there. Guys were always out of the lineup. And like, who are you supposed to set up? Right? Like there were a few Habs
Christian
games I
Dvorak.
watched. Yeah, like there were a few Habs games I watched where he just got mauled by other teams' defenses because they could zero in on him. And in some of those games, he fought through it and scored anyway. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking for a little more undeniability from his game.
We know what Brendan Gallagher brings. We know what Josh Anderson brings. Brendan Gallagher, consistency, grittiness, leadership.
For 30 games a season.
Josh Anderson, guaranteed to score against the Leafs for sure.
For 30 games a season.
And probably, for 30 games a season. That's the thing, injuries, right?
It's the number one thing with this team. They have to stay healthy.
Yeah. What about Joel Armia?
He has to stay healthy.
One of the guys they're taking a flyer on is Alex Newhook, 22 years old. Signed him to a 4-year extension at $2.9 million. Could be great value if he becomes even 60 or 70% of what Colorado drafted him for.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fun thing about Newhook is the fun thing about the Montreal Canadiens. They have guys who they can put on the fourth line. They can put on the first line. Like we have all these guys with great potential, and we're just going to see who makes it. Newhook faltered in Colorado. I was pretty disappointed, but he does have that Stanley Cup experience. Maybe in a consistent top line role, he's a little older and he breaks out. There's a lot of scoring touch.
The thing that Montreal really arguably needs the most is top end talent. Mm-hmm. Top end guys. Juraj Slafkovsky was drafted to be a top end forward. He had a good start last year. That kind of fell off, and then it found him out of the lineup. Injury, I think, too, as well.
Yes.
But what do you guys want to see from Slafkovsky this year to show at 19 he's taken a step forward and becoming the power forward they want him to be?
Young players sometimes struggle with this. I would like him to rediscover the fact he's 6'4", because The game the other day between the Leafs and Canadiens, the one where the Canadiens had the comeback and won in overtime, I know he got an assist on what I believe was the game-tying goal. I discovered he was in that game in the third period. He's been quiet, man. Like, he has not looked like a dominant player. Like, when you pick a player first overall, you're not looking for a guy who can hang. You're looking for a guy who takes shit over, and he hasn't shown he can do that. So I want to see him be belligerent and fight through plays and not expect the ice to come to him. He's got to take it.
Jesse?
I think somebody needs to alert the Montreal Canadiens front office and Kent Hughes that it's okay if your first overall pick doesn't start immediately in the NHL. Like, I feel like they rushed him a little too quickly last year. He clearly needs some more seasoning. The game that you play over in Europe isn't the same game you play over in North America.
Way different.
It's an 18, 19-year-old, still 19, trying to learn North America hockey. And it's going to take a little bit of time, and they rushed him a little too quickly. He needs some more seasoning. You need to throw Slafkovsky back in the oven. I don't know how you do that this year because I think they don't have a choice but to play him in the NHL, and hopefully he can do that development at the NHL level. But they need to make sure...
They could send him down.
They can send him, but I think they're committed to making him learn this at the NHL level. And I'm not asking them to baby him, but make sure that his development gets done so you don't spoil this potentially really good player. All the talent is there, I think. It's just let's not rush into things.
Getting drafted first overall, I think, is legitimately hard.
I think it was bad for him.
Bad for him specifically. That's a guy who probably could have used some seasoning in the American League, but who does that with the first overall pick?
Exactly. If
no one ever does.
Slafkovsky went fifth, I think he's very happy in the NHL, in the AHL. Sorry, all of last year, and he's coming in this year hot and ready.
That's what David Juracek did. And no one batted an eye. He was fifth or sixth.
He wasn't first overall?
Yeah, he wasn't first overall.
It was fine.
And he went to the American League. No one batted an eye. And he had a few good games in the NHL. But if he was first...
Can't do that.
And he went straight to the AHL, what's Columbus doing?
Yeah.
They're out of their mind.
There's a difference between playing in the O throughout your entire junior career and playing over in Europe and coming right over.
Yes. So it's... The potential is there. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a stupid pick. You know what is going to be a miserable experience for Montreal Canadiens fans? You're going to start getting chirped about Logan Cooley because Logan Cooley's going to pop off and he's going to be compared to this guy who you took above him. Nemec is probably going to play some games for the Devils.
Well, and how about add to that, and this transitions us to the defense, Reinbacher over Matvei Michkov. And it doesn't mean Reinbacher's bad. But he was, even according to the Canadiens themselves, the safe pick.
Do they have him making the NHL roster?
I don't believe he will this year.
No,
I think they're gonna hold him back. Not that he can't. It's just that that's probably not the best idea. When you surround him with Michael Matheson, David Savard, Jordan Harris, Gus Lindstrom, Justin Barron, Caden Gooley, we're excited about. Arbor Xhekaj, we're excited about. But
it'd be good for him to go to Laval, which I believe he can.
He will. Yeah.
That'd be good for him. You're asking for Matheson to repeat his brilliance from last year, which I think is a tough ask. There's a lot of...
There isn't top-end talent yet on the Montreal defense.
Final thing on Slafkovsky, just because of that draft. Outside of Slafkovsky, there are 8, that's 12, 13, 14 combined games for the draft in the NHL level. We got Marco Kasper, who played 1, Owen Beck played 1, Juracek played 4, and Shane Wright played 8.
That's going to explode this year.
It's as it should have.
Yeah.
Better.
But Juraj Slafkovsky is up there with 39 career games. I think it was a little quick, guys.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. They had to retain on Joel Edmondson and Jeff Petrie just to get them out of town. Joel Edmondson was $1.75 million, $2.3 million for the next 2 years for Jeff Petrie, and they are still paying, believe it or not, Carl Ulsner. on his buyout.
wow.
$833,000 there. So there's about $5 million that the Montreal Canadiens cannot spend. Next year, that alleviates a bit. But
They don't care.
Of course, they don't care. And they have, it's funny, with Carey Price, obviously they would have a ton more cap room. But if you look at their cap friendly, they're one of the highest payrolls already in the NHL. I want to talk about goaltending. Obviously, Jake Allen signed a 3-year deal to get them through the hard parts. I think health is a concern here.
I mean, health is a concern here, and even in the preseason with the games against the Leafs, I think you've seen the full gamut of Jake Allen. A shot comes his way, it blows by him like a fart, and you're like, what the hell was that? In the very next shift, he makes 3 game-saving saves. You never know what you're going to get rush to rush with Jake Allen. And yeah, his health is a big factor.
So Montreal fans better get used to Samuel Montembeault. What do you think with him? I mean, this seems to be, he's 26. He's on a $1 million deal, UFA at the end of it. You were given a hard time about Timothy Liljegren on this one, but it's like, are you NHL guy or are you waiver guy this year?
No, I think he's their starter.
You think so?
To be honest, yeah.
Over Jake Allen?
I would certainly give it a shot. I mean, like the Habs, like we all think they're going to be fine in the future, right?
Yeah, but they're going to have to replace both goalies.
But Montembeault hasn't proven that he's an NHL goaltender.
I think he was given an impossible task last year.
Yeah.
He did crack 901 in the save percentage.
Yeah,
but,
But that's why That's why I look at Jake Allen. I'm like, Jake Allen is Santa Claus. Like he signed up for this to play behind this team for all of these years.
Well, then you signed up to help usher the Habs into the future, and they don't have a goalie of the future right now. It's not Jake Allen.
No.
Right? The best shot they have at the moment is probably Montembeault. Don't say Caden Primo. Is he a waiver concern for them? Is that why we're having this conversation? No, Primo.
I don't think so. No, it doesn't look like it.
Okay.
No.
Because otherwise, like, I think it's going to be Montembeault and Allen basically splitting the net. But I would like to see over the course of the season, Montembeault get more and more starts.
Why are you so low on Primo because of his numbers in Laval?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that why?
What are they?
He was a 909 last year in 41 games in Laval.
But we've seen him at the NHL level. And
So his NHL experience goes 4 games in 21, 849.
849?
12 games in 22, 868.
Wow.
23 last year. They only gave him 3 games, 852.
Dude, those are not NHL option numbers. They're not. So I'm
24.
Yeah, like there's a guy who probably played earlier than he should have. But like he really struggles with that jump.
Yep.
Woo.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So with that, guys, where do you have them? I think I know the answer, but where do you have the Montreal Canadiens finishing in the division?
Their future is beautiful, but it's the present. 8th.
Same here, Jesse.
I got them finishing 7th.
Whoa. Hot take Blake
fans
over
wouldn't
here.
put them
Whoa.
Let's go, Montreal.